Hello and welcome to the Modern Ham YouTube stream. Had a couple of little technical issues going on starting to stream tonight, but if you're joining me, welcome. I realized that I've been accidentally double streaming with Jason Ham Radio 2.0, so might have to fix that in the future here if I continue to do these. But tonight we are continuing the live packet radio build, the all-encompassing, do everything dream node that I've wanted. And so last week we set up the correct remote desktop protocol and we set up our TNCs. And this week we're going to look at getting all of those software TNCs to auto start using scheduled tasks, which shouldn't take long. And then we're going to look at configuring and installing BBQ inside of a Linux virtual machine, Debian 12. And we're going to go ahead and also get Winlink RMS gateway set up, HF and VHF. So by the end of this stream, as long as everything goes well, you all may actually be able to connect to my node tonight and either use it for either Winlink or just a BBQ node. So pretty exciting stuff. I do want to get down to business because we do have a lot to do. Give me just a moment here. Let me pull up the stream to make sure everything's good to go. All right, and it looks like we are good to go. So let's go ahead and start off by just opening our Windows server that we've been working out of. And you're going to notice that I already have everything's running, right? So basically picking up where we left off, I do have my TNCs running for direwolf on the 2 meter and on the HF. I am currently at the frequency, dial frequency 7 megahertz, 7.102.700 if you want to specify it like that. And I have 2 VARA instances running, one for HF and one for VHF. And so we're going to go ahead and pull up my blog post, the trusty blog post that I always run. That is also should be linked in the description, so if you all want to follow along. Hello, Code. Thanks for checking in. The link for the description, everything that I do tonight will be there, so you can follow along if you like, or you go back and do it as well. So first, we're going to go ahead and create our scheduled tasks. So we want to automatically start both of these VARA TNCs. We want to auto start FLRig, and we want to auto start direwolf. So we're going to start by hitting the start button and type in scheduled tasks or task scheduler. And we're going to click on this folder here on the left, And you'll notice that I actually already have a few of them. Let's just go ahead and delete these. That was probably just a test before the stream or for the documents. Going to create a new task. And we're going to go ahead and take care of the direwolf stuff first. It's pretty easy. So we're going to say auto start direwolf 2 meters. There's not much really to this. We want to make sure we're running it as our user that we're auto logging in with. As for the triggers, we're going to do this after our user logs in. So we're going to say at logon, specific user, we only want it to do it for our packet user that we've been using. And we're going to delay the task for about, let's say 1 minute. And I'll show you all why in a second. So for the TNCs, I want to wait 1 minute before we start them. We want to make sure that this little checkbox here is enabled. And then we're going to go over to the actions menu. And here we're going to specify what we want to do. So we're going to start a program. And as for the programmer script, let's go over to our direwolf, right? So I think we put that on the desktop. And this is for direwolf 2 meters. And we're going to start the direwolf.exe. Now, as for start in, to make sure that it uses the appropriate config file, we're just going to take all of this right here. And we're going to paste it here for start in. Let me make sure that follows along exactly with what my blog said. Yeah, so that'll be fine. So that will be good. And as for the conditions, we want to uncheck this start the task only if the computer's on AC power. It really doesn't matter, but I'm going to uncheck it regardless. And under settings, that really should be good. That should be good for our task. It looks like I actually already had that done at one point, so I'm going to delete this old one. I'll delete the HF one because we're going to make one. And again, we're going to create a new task, and we're going to go through the exact same steps. We're going to say auto start direwolf HF, and this is just going to be for the direwolf HF, right? For that's going to run at 300 baud, and it's going to be targeting our FT891. If you all don't know, I've already set up all of the TNC stuff. If you follow me, you already know I already have the direwolf blog. You check that out if you want to figure out how to set up direwolf for your FT891 or whatever radio it be. So let's go over to the triggers and new, and again at logon we're going to delay the task for 1 minute. And for specific user actions, we're just basically doing the exact same thing that we just did, right? I don't need to explain every single time that we do this. So we're going to start it here. Conditions, uncheck this, and that does it. So we got our direwolves automatically auto starting. Let's go ahead and take care of VARA. Exact same scenario. I'm going to start auto start VARA 2 meters. At the logon, we're going to delay for a minute. We are going to browse this time to the VARA executable for 2 meters. Remember, we made several folders just in case we wanted several different instances of VARA. So I'm going to go VARA FM and then click this VARA FM.exe. And I'm going to take everything here, make sure it's in start in. And that takes care of VARA 2 meters. Now we'll do VARA HF. All right. that takes care of VARA HF. Now, I'm using FLRig, if you didn't see, for rig control for the FT891. What's up, Generation? Welcome to the stream. We're doing a little scheduled task to make sure all our TNCs and rig control correctly start. So we're going to say create new task, and we're going to say auto start FLRig. And this is specifically for rig control from BBQ for my FT891. And this is going to be the same scenario. Let's see, at logon. This time though, no, it's okay. I'll start it after a minute. The only one that really needs a change is the one that lets us replicate or share serial ports. That needs to be before the TNCs. So as for the actions, this time we're going to browse to where FLRig is installed. Program files 86, FLRig. I don't want the quotes here. Let's say start in just like that. All right, so that takes care of FLRig, and the last thing that we want to do is use our program that we use to share the serial ports and get that auto started. And this one's a little bit more involved. So if you've been following the stream, last time I was splitting the serial ports up, and then I was using the HHD software to use different virtual serial ports. I found out that you can just share a single port. So say my DigiRig push to talks on COM5. I can share COM5 and say, okay, I'm going to create a new virtual serial port and call it COM1, and that one is shared. So it's the same thing as accessing 5, but several different applications can use it. So in order to set that up automatically to start at boot, and it is a paid option, you have to have the paid version of HHD in order to auto start your shared serial ports. We're going to create a new task, and we're going to call this auto start serial port share. And from here, the triggers is going to be exactly the same, except we're going to delay the task only for 30 seconds. That's going to let this thing start before all of the TNCs, and so that when the TNCs actually start, they'll have the shared port to use. Generation made about the Commodore SX and Packet. Had a hard time finding the right software, but you pointed me in the right direction. I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it. That was a pretty a unique video that was difficult to actually get together, so I'm glad you appreciated it. For the actions, this is where things get a little bit different. I'm still going to browse to where that HHD software is installed. So we're going to go to Program Files, HHD Software, Virtual Serial Port Tools, and here the application that we're going to use is this RSPCLI. This is the program that will allow us to pass in parameters to it in order to share a specific port at boot. So you're going to take all of this after the executable name, this create shared local port 1, share port 4. That you're going to paste that inside of the add arguments. Now what this is doing is it creates a shared port, and it's saying that the local port that we want to share is on COM1. No, sorry, it's saying that the local port we want to share is COM4. So this would be your hardware DigiRig port. And it's creating COM1, which is going to be one that can be shared between applications. So that's going to start up before the software TNCs, and this will allow the software TNCs to share that serial port between each other so that we can have VARA and we can have direwolf and all of this running on this exact same interface, or the same cat interface. So with that out of the way, that really takes care of our auto starts. The next thing we're going to go ahead and do is just dig straight into BBQ. Now, as you all have known, if you're following this series, I'm running all of these in virtual machines. That way I can take automatic snapshots, I can do backups, I can do replications. If one node goes down, I can automatically have it migrate to another. It's just a lot more redundant. It's a lot more resilient to error. If I could go in here and delete all of this right now, and it would just take a right-click restore, and everything would just be back to normal. So with that said, I am running Debian 12 in a virtual machine, and I'm not going to pain the live stream with the process of just installing Debian 12. There's a million different guides online for doing that, and they're going to be a lot better than what I'm going to do. So let's just assume that I have installed Debian 12, and all I have is a CLI. I have a command line interface. I haven't created any users besides what was done in the installer, and here I am, basically a blank slate. So let's go back to the guide that I'm using, that I wrote to follow along here, and let's take a look and see what the next steps is. So we have the install LinBPQ on Debian 12 Linux VM. What I've done here in this post is I've linked to the instructions that I've already used before, or already created before, to install LinBPQ. So I'm just going to open that link that I have, and I have a guide for Linux and I have a guide for Windows. So the prerequisites for this is that you have your radio, you have Debian 12 basically, right? So starting from a fresh installation, we are going to elevate to root. So to do that, we're going to say su space -l. That will get us to root while also providing the path environmental variables in Linux so that we can use different commands like add user. So once I type that in, it's going to ask for the password. And here we are as root. So I'm just going to follow along with what I've written before. So first we're going to install sudo just in case it doesn't exist, which it typically doesn't on a bare minimum Windows or Linux installation. And now we're going to add a new user called LinBPQ. And we're going to give it a secure password. All right, and now we are going to add LinBPQ to the sudo group. And now we are going to add LinBPQ to the dial out group, which will allow that user to access serial ports. And now we're going to swap over to LinBPQ. So we're going to say su, we should put -l here, LinBPQ. So now that we're here, I'm going to go ahead and do an update, right? Just in case there's updates that are needed. And we're going to install a few applications that's going to facilitate LinBPQ running. And the reason I'm not explaining all of this is because I've already done this in a video. If you all are really interested in the BBQ process, you can check out Packet Radio BBS Node Setup and Config for LinBPQ. The reason I went so in depth there is so when I do things like this, I can kind of move over the very specific technical stuff. We're going to install some more packages. And after those are done, we're going to make a new folder, and it's called LinBPQ. I guess I could scroll in so these commands are a little more obvious, right? There we go. So let's make our new folder, and let's get into that folder. So now we're going to go ahead, and we've already done the update. Let's go ahead and grab, since we're running Debian 12 and not a Raspberry Pi, let's go ahead and grab LinBPQ 64. And let's go ahead and mark that as executable once it's done downloading, of course. Might take a little while since it's going through basically a couple, like a Wi-Fi connection over to OBS said I had a disconnection. Don't know why. So hopefully the stream's still up. Am I still streaming myself? I guess so. Anyways, so let's go ahead and mark that as executable. And you all let me know if something's going on with the stream, if you can. I just now connected my HF radio up today, so it could be knocking out my internet. Might be something I need to work on. So this right here will allow LinBPQ to use ports that are below 1024, which are usually for root purposes. So the next thing we're going to do is download the web interface for BBQ, and these are just files that allow you to see like the fancy stuff like APRS and these things. So we're going to run these 4 commands here to download it and then to unzip it. And I know I'm moving fast. It's because, like I said, I've already done this. If you all need to stop, and if you really, really want to get into LinBPQ, you can check that out. So now we're going to go back to our root folder, and this is where things get off of the, just the ropes. We're going to say nano bbq32.cfg. This is going to create a new, I'm going to make this a little larger, a new config file. Now, I already have the config that I want to use. Some of it's sensitive, so there's going to be, I'm going to fill in the parts. Some of it's sensitive. I don't want to paste the whole thing here on stream, but I'll at least do some of the parts and talk about them. So this first section, there's nothing in here too wild, but I'm putting my latitude and longitude for the location, my node call. This is the beacon text that I want to put out. So since I'm supporting AX25 and VARA on VHF and VHF and HF, this is kind of how I advertise that. My info message is also just trying to get that point across too. I'm broadcasting my ID every 10 minutes as required, and I've made my beacon interval and nodes interval quite long, longer than usual, because there's so many different ports that I'm going out on. I really just don't want to like spam things up, right? These right here are just generic statements, almost, BBS is enabled. I'm a node, so people can connect to me and utilize my node to connect to others. That's just really generic statements. So this next portion here, I'm going to take one part out, is going to be my telnet port. And telnet is going to allow, I don't really have this open to the world right now, but this is what's going to allow those Winlink CMS connections. I need to put my password in here. This next port is going to be my AX IP link, and I'm going to leave out the broadcast nodes for right now because I don't want to show those on stream. But this port right here is going to allow BBQ to form links over the internet with other people who have BBQ nodes, right? So we'll be able to connect to each other over IP instead of just radio. If you would like to link to my node like that and you have your own, let me know. Send a message to, you can do kn4mkb@themodernham.com and we can get a link set up. But I don't do the auto add map because it's a security vulnerability. If you have auto map in your AX IP link, it will allow anybody on the entire internet to connect to your node with no authentication and use your radios however they please. It's not a good thing to do. The rest of this is not really anything that is going to be sensitive. So I'm just going to copy and paste it in and just talk about it real quick. So what do I have here? Let me scroll up to where the telnet port ended. So, okay, AXIP. Port 3, this is going to be my network KISS connection for my 2-meter direwolf at 1200 baud. And it's also going to be Winlink capable. So I'm advertising right here that, hey, I have a Winlink node at 144.915. You can connect with packet. This next node is for the same radio and the same frequency, but it's for VARA FM. So same ordeal, and I'm also advertising. It's also available on Winlink with VARA FM. The next port I have here is my AX25 on HF, and this is going to be at 300 baud. And right now I have my frequency, my dial frequency set to 7.102 megahertz.7. So 7 megahertz 1027 is where my dial is set to on the upper sideband. And this is connecting back to also direwolf that's running on Windows Server. This time I've specified a different port because that's how I've changed my direwolf modems so that they all can run simultaneously. And even though I don't think Winlink at 300 packet is supported officially, I am advertising it to Winlink on the center frequency of 7.104 megahertz.200, which is 1.5 kilohertz above my dial frequency. That's how that works on upper sideband. Port 6, just like on 2 meters, I go over to VARA now. So here I have my VARA HF port with a default bandwidth of 2300, but 500 hertz supported. And it is also available on the same HF frequency because it's on the same radio. And I am advertising it to Winlink at 7.104.200 as my center frequency, my dial frequency being, again, 7.102.700. Too easy, right? So next is my APRS port. And there's not much going on here except I am iGating traffic, and I am digipeating APRS that happens on port 3, which is AX25 on VHF, and port 5, which is my AX25 on HF. So what that means is if somebody does send an APRS packet on that HF or VHF frequency, I am digipeating it, and I am sending it to the APRS IS, or the APRS information system. So that's all of that right there. And here I'm just saying, hey, I'm also running a BBS, I'm running chat, and RMS gateway at KN4 MKB-10. Now with that out of the way, I'm going to move this over to the other screen and fill in a couple of these more sensitive items. And then I'm going to save this config file. So give me just a moment. Let me make sure I'm not streaming something I shouldn't be streaming, because we don't want to do that. Fill in my password on the telnet port. And let me put in my map links that I have with other people. And it might not be sensitive, but I don't know if they want me to just disclose their, basically their IP addresses and stuff. So I'll keep that separated. So once that's done, I saved my file, and now I'm back on the terminal. What's next? Well, let's take a look at my blog, right? So all that's left there is actually to run the Winlink node and then set up my forwarding and my Winlink gateway stuff on the LinBPQ side. So I'm also going to set up auto start for LinBPQ, right? So let me scroll down the very end of my guide here. Yep. So we're going to say we're going to create a new service called BBQ, and we're going to paste this file in here. Now the only thing that's going to differ between the template and what I need is obviously your user here. This is going to be LinBPQ. That's the username that I've created to host this. And the next thing we're going to start, instead of just LinBPQ, remember we have the 64-bit version. So I'm going to put 64 at the end of that. And now I'm going to hit Control X and Shift Y and then Enter to save it. And in order to start and enable, we're going to say this right here to start BBQ. This right here is going to enable that service so that it does it on boot. And to check how it's doing, we're going to enter this status command. And it looks like things have started. How can we check? Well, if I open up a new tab here and I go to 10.10.3.10, 8080, where my BBQ node is running, we should see the management page. Great, moving right along. Things are moving a lot easier and a lot faster than they typically do. So let's check out routes, nodes, links. We don't really have anything going on here just yet, and that's okay, because usually these things take a moment to come up. In the meantime, I do have something we need to do, which is to set up Winlink forwarding and RMS gateway on the LinBPQ side. So when you know, I have a guide for that. Here we are. Again, this is available on my blog. I didn't filter that out, did I? All right, fellas. Do not log into my Winlink account. As careful as I am, I still managed to show my Winlink password on the live stream. All right, so I've changed my password. Don't try to log into my account. So let me go back over here and fix it on the on my configuration page. All right, Winlink passwords reset. So now, back to business, right? So here, we're going to go ahead and open up the sysop sign-in, and I'm going to put the username and password that I have made for my sysop account. And next, we're going to go to mail management. Where did my guide go? Ah, yes. So here, the send email from BBQ32 or LinBPQ with Winlink RMS. We've already done this portion here. We've done this portion here. And we've also already advertised our gateway. So now we're going to go into mail management and sysop sign in, just like I did. And we're going to go to configuration. So we're going to do some sensible defaults here. We're going to redirect messages to the BBS call. We're going to send system messages. We're going to enable the FBB UI system. We're going to not hold messages for new users. We're going to not request their name or their home BBS. We're also going to forward messages to the BBS call. And I think that's generally what I usually like to do. Let's see, do these settings match? as my guide said. That's the goal. We're going to change this send mail for beacons every 10 minutes. And then we're going to save that. Now we're going to go on over to the users tab. For here, we're going to add a new user. We're going to type in RMS in the new user slot. And then we're going to hit add. Now this RMS user is going to be the one that is used to send and receive email from the Winlink gateway, or the RMS gateway. The only thing we need to do is we're going to check BBS under this RMS user. And that should be the only thing. Also, we need to put in a CMS password, which is plain text. So this is going to be the Winlink password of the node, your node call sign. Okay? And I don't even know if this is required, but I think I saw it on the BBQ page. So under your RMS user, BBS is checked, and your node call sign's Winlink password is entered. Next thing we're going to do is go on over to the forwarding tab. Now we're going to highlight RMS, and under the connect script, we're going to type in RMS. And this bottom portion here, we're going to make sure that that matches what I have here. These are just some sensible defaults as well. I think, let's see, that should take care of everything. Update, hopefully. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and restart BBQ. So we're going to stop. And theoretically, you all should be able to connect to my node after this. If you're using HF. I don't know if any of you all are actually close enough to try VHF, but I do have my HF in a NIVIS configuration. So if you're within several hundred miles of me, you might be able to connect to my node. So now that BBQ is started back up, we're going to try a few things. There's actually one more thing I'd like to do. I have some chat nodes I like to link to. So let me get that filled in. These are some friends that have allowed me to connect to their chat nodes. There's nothing really here that's sensitive. There's not IP addresses or anything, so. It might help me test if things are wrong too. Okay. Now, if we go back to our node menu, maybe we'll start seeing some links. So I do have a node-to-node link with our club BBQ server, so I know that's working. If I pull up APRS pages and view the map there, I do see APRS stations. I am reporting to the APRS information system, so all of those things are good. Now, I don't have anything around me besides maybe an HF radio I can use to test if my node's working, but I know my node's working. I've done this plenty of times. So if you all want to test it, let me pull you up here and make sure I got the chat stream up. Not much activity going on tonight. If you all want to test it right now, you can attempt to connect to me On Winlink, if you update from the internet, you should see KN4MKB-10 on HF. It will show you as the center frequency, I think 7.104.300, and your dial frequency should be 7.102.800. Whatever is listed on the Winlink website. You will be able to connect with VARA or 300 baud direwolf packet. Let me reconnect here. I doubt any of you all are trying to connect right now, but I do want to look, see if I don't see anything, because the radio is way, way far away from me now. I can't actually hear it. So I see a couple beacons have went out. This is my FM. And let's check the log. I don't see any new connections besides some testing things that I've looked at before to make sure it worked. But my node is available. If you all would like to connect going forth into the future, from now on, it should be online. There might be a little break where I do some maintenance the next day or two, but I have a packet radio node available on the frequencies I've talked about, 7.102.700, and VARA as well. So you all can connect with the VARA dumb terminal, or you can connect with the Winlink, and you should have success if you're, within RF range of me. With that said, that's basically everything I wanted to cover tonight, and this is probably the fastest we've ever gotten done, despite all of the things that I needed to accomplish tonight. The only thing I didn't think about talking about was becoming a Winlink sysop, that process, and I did mention it in my guide. Let's see. I thought. So to become a Winlink sysop, right? Let's go ahead and just pull that up on Google. A system operator in Winlink really is someone who can provide a CMS point to get to the CMS Winlink servers, right? An RMS gateway. It allows people to use your RF equipment, such as your radios, in order to send links or send email from Winlink. I guess we could do that. We could try that out. I'll open up a new terminal, and we'll try to send a message to one of my emails. So first I'm going to say telnet 10.10.3.10, which is where my BBQ server's forwarded at. And I think that's 8100 for the port. And my password, or my username. And my password. And now I'm going to say BBS. So it's going to open our BBS. And there are a couple prerequisites that you have to do on your account itself in order to send messages from Winlink. So to do that, let's see. Scroll down to the very bottom. I need to say CMS password here to set my Winlink password. So I'm not going to do that on stream this time. Alright, so my CMS password is set. I also need to say poll RMS enable. And this is going to allow my account to pull Winlink messages for myself back down. Now we're going to send an email message from BBQ. So we're going to say S for send, And for the address, we need to do RMS : and then the email you'd like to send to. So I'm going to say KN4MKB at themodernham.com. This is a title. The message text, I'm going to say hello from BBQ. And then, as the instructions indicate, I'll do /EX. And that message should have gone out. So I'm going to check my email on another monitor. Let me pull it up in case there's something sensitive. And I do see my email has popped up, as you can see right here. Look at that. This is a title, hello from BBQ. Let's see if it works the other way. So I'm going to say reply. And for the reply, I'm going to say, this is a reply. Reply from ISP email, right? So now I'm going to say send. And depending on how fast that worked, we're going to go back to the terminal. And we're going to go ahead and force the RMS to poll for messages. So this command here, FWD RMS now. So we're going to say FWD RMS now. Guess I need to be a sysop. Let's see if messages has come in. So let's go ahead and make myself a sysop, right? Because obviously we want to be a system operator of our own BBQ node. Anyways. Sysop sign in. And this is because I believe the Telnet account is actually different from the BBS account. That's why I'm able to sign as a sysop here, but I still have to go into mail management, users, highlight my user, and then say sysop, and then say update. That should make me a sysop. So I should now be able to say FWD RMS now. Maybe I need to relog. So let's try that. Let's leave. Now let's go back in. It says forwarding started. Let's see if we have a new message. All right, so we do have a new message right here. It says this is a reply for KN4MKB. This is the message that I sent from the ISP, right? So what is it, R2 maybe? So as you can see, this is the complete message, reply from ISP email. So we see that the RMS Winlink is working from each direction, right? So the Winlink gateway set up. We have VARA and direwolf, AX25 working on VHF and HF. We have APRS digipeating, iGating working on VHF and HF. We're advertising to the Winlink servers. This is basically a complete build. It's all in one package. We have automatic backups enabled. There's auto restart in case of a power outage. This is all run on solar. There's not a whole lot more I can do with this functionally besides move on to some more fun or advanced concepts that a lot of people aren't going to use in the real world. Generation, thanks for tuning in. I know it can get kind of late, so thanks for tuning into the stream. But I don't want to really draw this out any longer. Next week, I just want to do a less technical approach to this, because basically all the technical stuff is here. Next week, I would like to do an overview of what has been done on these 3 episodes, or these 3 live streams of this packet build, and walk everybody around the functionality, and also invite anybody to be able to connect to my node, whether it be just as a BBS person or as a Winlink person, and see if we can't get some use out of it. And also use that time to take requests if there's something else that you all would like to see that are gets into the very nitty-gritty technical details of these things, because this is the stuff that I like to write about. This is the information that I like to share, and I just don't think there's a lot of good presentations on how it's done out there. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it, and I hope that everybody got something out of this stream, and if you're watching it back, I hope you're able to get something out of it as well. And that'll be it for me tonight. 73 to you.